All right, let's get into what's going on. Shaq is out. How are your burgers? Let's see. AUPH is halted, right? It's gonna resume. I think it's good news on AUPH. Anyways, Juno, how's your biotech? Okay. Um, how's your burgers? Not too tasty. And MNST, how's your drinks? Pretty healthy. Um, hmm. Tamer. I like Juno for a short, so if we like Juno for a short, then let's readjust Kite. That's not the price. I know that's not the price. That's a fat finger. So what's gonna happen is Snap IPO is 10 times oversubscribed. Sounds like a lot of hype. Never during a chart session. All right. Let's see while we're here and after hours. I'll keep Kite up on the side and let's see what Kite does. And yeah, I'll consider taking some overnighter. And your UVXY, you didn't get to $21.50, did you? No, I failed. Failed ya. I know that's why Terry's upset. Alrighty, guys. So let's get into chart reviews for today. So, on the first day, for those of you guys that are new, how many of you guys did well? For those of you guys that are new, and for the existing traders, how many of you guys had a good day? A good day or a bad day?
On
Let me know.
SHAK, Shake Shack, Class A common stock reports earnings per share in line with expectations, beats on revenue. Again, that's on SHAK.
So Shaq is a long, okay? Right? Common shot EPS in line with estimates, beats on revenues. So you can test it on the long side on Shaq. It's good. It's not bad. Test it on the long side. EPS in line with estimates and beats on revenue. That sounds good to me.
FBHS, Fortune
That
Brands
sounds
announces
good to
$300
me.
million share repurchase authorization. Again, that's an FBHS. FGEN FiberGen earnings per share coming in with a loss of 98 cents, beating by 6 cents. Revenue coming in at 179.6 million, beating by
Trying to read
10.89
some of the
million
news
on
that's
revenue.
coming
Again, that's an
through.
FGEN.
PANW. Oh, so testers. So you tested a few times on PANW then.
On
Ching.
TDOC Teladoc earnings per share loss estimates by beats
Oh,
loss
okay.
estimates by 4 cents and
We'll
beats on revenue. Again,
we'll
that's on
catch it. Don't worry.
TDOC.
We'll catch it. We will catch our PANW. I mean PANW chart just did not give us any kind of
On ANAT, American
didn't
National
give us
Insurance
any type
Corporation
of
announces
love
filing extension
whatsoever.
for
But we're gonna catch a day
Form
when
10K.
we're gonna
Again, that's
get
an
a
ANAT.
recoup of this, and we'll get our money back on it. We're just gonna be patient with it till then. Alrighty, so shoot me your charts, your questions, your comments, your likes, your dislikes, your greens, and or your reds. Meanwhile, we'll just keep UVXY up here till it hits $21.50, so Terry doesn't have to yell at me. This is all your time here, not mine. Well, it is mine, but this is your time. I have a lot of work to go over some of the charts that I took for the day. I think my best chart that I traded today and the way that I did it was CRM. Personally, for me, it was my best trade, and not for the money, but more so for the way that I did it. I waited for that exuberant push and I got my $84 on the short side, and I quickly added on the first red candle, and then I got to capitalize on the trade. But for me, as far as the not the amount of money that was made, but the way that the trade worked and the way that I wanted it to work and where I added and whatnot, I think it was the best. The easiest quick reaction was this NDRM. I was just very excited to sell some of this because it was just a $70 target on a $28 chart. It was just a matter of getting a round number for me, because especially for the swings, I just like round numbers. So it for me, this one was a pretty simple reaction trade. It was just a matter of getting around numbers. Your big miss was kite. What? You actually owned it, Cheng? You bought opening range breakout. So you're telling me you played kite from $72.50. This is where you had it. Wow. And not once during the day did you say, "Hey, I have kite. What should I do with it?" Okay. Even if you were doing moving averages on a 5-minute chart with a stop under the 13 EMA all day long, you'd have gotten stopped here. $79 and let's say $79.10. And this is something that we gotta work on. Especially Ching, we're not gonna be making the same mistakes we made last month, right? So this was an issue last month with you not letting the charts ride for a little bit more, and so you need to get that emotion out of it. And that sell, no, but we're still in the first day of the new month, so that sell on kite was an emotional sell. Had nothing to do with the chart itself. Purely emotional. Even if you were just writing,
On
the moving
announces
averages.
we purchase right
Yep. So
notification
Julian's
for the
logging
2.25
on
convertible
Fold,
senior notes due
and
2019.
he's playing
Again, that's on
the CEO
JCAP.
being on
Jernigan
I'm joking with you,
Capital
but
closes
he's playing the
61.7 million
CEO
of new
coming up on
self-storage
Mad Money
development
later on,
investments. Again,
and
that's
so
in
he's expecting the CEO
JCAP.
to say something
ONC and
positive, and
PFE
also
Spark
obviously
Therapeutics
charts
and
over
Pfizer
its
announced
200
SPK
SMA on the daily,
9001
which puts you
investigation
in
into the field of BD medicine
a
has been
better
granted access to the
in a
Priority
better
Medicines
stance as
program
far
by the
as where the
European Medicine
general chart is
Agency. Again,
at.
that's an ONCE and PFE. MNS
Just trying to quiet down my.
beating by 5 cents, revenue coming in at 753.8 million.
Okay. I was trying to quiet down my
Beating
trade
by
exchange there. It was just in my ear.
32.63 million on revenue.
Okay.
Again, that's an
MYS is still
MNC.
moving up after
VLRS,
hours.
Volaris
And
achieves
so for
business
those of you guys that
milestone
are overnighting,
in
are we all
2016.
overnighting
That's
some
a
MYOS? We
VLRS.
sold some, made our paycheck.
Also posted in the
But are we
forum
all
of the
overnighting some
4 p.m.
MYOS?
or
So we're going to
30
wake
p.m.,
up
5
tomorrow,
p.m.
and
5:30 p.m.
if the
conference
chart
calls
gets up, we're going to be
along
happy
with the
about this
link. Again,
overnight
that's
on
the conference calls for the rest of
MYOS
the
as
afternoon
a group.
and evening posted in the forum.
Okay. You wanted an entry for yourself. When she brought up, what do you think was my best entry? I wanted to get an entry myself when she brought it up. So Ching, you brought this up, this kite play, during when you picked it up. You brought it up to the room. I wasn't here during that time. Yeah, what time is this? Yeah, that's right about when I pick up my daughter. Okay, so I wasn't here for that trade, and so you were looking for an entry. What do I think was the best entry? Well, let's break it down by candlesticks, and you know how I like to play them, right? 5-minute candles. So that's your opening range here. And so this candle pushed through, this one pushed through, this one pushed through, rejected, pushed through, rejected, pushed through, rejected, pushed through, rejected, pushed through, retested. Here, that candle, right there. So that was the candle that actually closed
On VGR
over
Vector,
the
earnings per
opening
share coming in
range.
at
So that candle
13
right
cents,
here,
missing by 4 cents, revenue coming in at
that candle right
412.8
here
million,
is your entry.
13.5
So
million
all of
on
these
revenue.
candles, the
Again, that's on
wicks
VGR.
coming through, but there was nothing that gave you a definite buy. This green candle, you see this green candle? You guys remember what the name of this green candle is? Candlestick Formation 101.
OPKO Health earnings per share coming in with a
That's
loss
a
of
green
4 cents,
Maribozu.
in line with expectations.
One of the
Revenue coming in at
strongest
275.5 million,
lease
missing by 35.32 million. on revenue,
bullish
again, that's an
candles out there.
OTK.
No sellers, meaning that it doesn't have a wick here and here. What it's telling
On
you is the candle
PSTG,
price
Pure
opened
Storage,
here, and throughout the
stock beats
duration
earnings
of
per
this
share
move,
lost
there was
estimates
not
by
one
6
seller
cents
in
and beats
between
on
off of this
revenue, again, that's on
5-minute candle.
PSTG.
It's one of the strongest reversal bullish candles that you can get, a green Marubozu. So a red Marubozu will obviously be the strongest downside candle that you can get. Single individual candlestick, this is number 1 on the list. Green Marubozu, strongest one. So off of this, it's a buy. It's a buy no matter what. And this would have been your close over the red line candle at least. So anywhere here would have still been your entry and K, and then I would have used the base of this previous big candle here as my stop. That's what I would have used. And now for Ching's sake of getting rid of this chart, you want me to send you one of these little emojis slapping yourself? I have to find one for you. I know you like these little emoji things. I know that you're probably doing it enough, but we're gonna work on this, Cheng. We gotta work on this. You know what you're gonna do? When you have a chart like this from now on, please bring it up, and your entry, and then we're gonna try to see if we can break you out of it. Now, even if you're hanging on to 50 shares, because what's happening is your emotions are just running. Your emotions are out of control when it comes to you selling, and you're not keeping it as robotic as you can. And your moving averages are gonna keep you in play here. Any time frame on this chart would have kept you in the trade for much longer than you got out. So what we're gonna do is no matter what you're keeping, I don't care if it's 10 shares, and it's not about the money. It's about the trying to practice breaking out of that habit, because it's the chart that could have given you almost 6-7 points to the upside. And so even if it was 100 shares that you left on, it would have given you $700 more. And so it's not that there was no point in this chart where you should have. Hindsight, obviously we're looking at the market that's closed, right? Even during the day though, your emotions would be intact if you had a stop under the 13 EMA all the way up. And that's why we have moving averages. That's why we use moving averages as one of our main resources for trading, right? We use it for getting entries, and we use it for taking swings, and we use it for supports when the chart's falling. We use it for resistance when the chart's up on top. So if you're going to use the moving averages at any point in your trading career, then try using it now for proper reasons. And so what we're going to do is, when we catch a chart that's nice and you have a position, especially you, Cheng, just private message me or whatever, and we're going to try to see as much as we can keep you in some of the charts for a bigger move to the upside without getting shaken out. Because you've had some insane charts recently, and you happen to get into some of them, and you leave a lot of money on the table. And so we got to break it up. Not that it's, hey, look, today's one day and this is one trade and there will be more. Probably not a $9 move chart right away, but there will be more. And eventually we got to get you breaking out of that, right? Because even on a chart like this, there would have been, say you're long here, say you took off some to pay yourself, right? To put that in your pocket to make your paycheck. And then you ride the rest. And then if you were breaking down this chart in its most simplistic forms, you would long some more over this break and then sell a little bit again. Your average would be somewhere about here, and then you pay yourself again and again. And then I would have probably tell you, hey, look, you see those couple green candles? I want you to sell most of your chart into there. I would have probably told you to do that, because I like to sell into green candles. And so for the sake of continuation here, let's try to stay into charts that are working as long as you can. You see me do it all the time. With JDST, I gave it all the way down to 17 before I ended up getting out of the chart. And so you see me doing it all the time. And once you make your paycheck, which is gonna be from now on your 9 to 5 work ethics type of trading, you're gonna say, well, this is my paycheck. This is my $100. This is my $50. Whatever your paycheck is, this is what I'm putting in my pocket, and the rest of it, well, we're gonna see where it goes. Same thing like with this NDRM. Completely risk off swing trade. This is a free swing trade for me. I already took the money that I wanted. Stops are already done at my entry. 1 point in the money, no matter what. No matter what happens, this is risk off. So I don't need to do anything else with it. All I just need to do is monitor the way that it works. And with a Cohen $70 price target, I want to try to see, even if I get stopped out, I will be repurchasing this one for sure. My most robotic trade today was JNUG. This was the most robotic trade for me. Chart came over, broke over this. This has been a formation that's actually been proven very well for us recently. Flat top breakout. And the flat top breakout came right here at $7.48. I picked it up at $7.50, and that was it. That was all she wrote. Now, did I expect to get this much on a $7 chart? No. My target was basically 25 cents ish. And this obviously was just icing on the cake, but I did pay myself on the way up, and now the rest of it, well, stops at entry, and let's see what this bullish engulfing on the daily can do for this chart. So this was my flat top breakout chart, and it was my most robotic trade for the day, being that I had no biasness on gold, or I didn't even look at gold charts. No biasness whatsoever. And even stopping out on my JDST, did I give back too much of it? Nope, not in my opinion, because I already had exited, so much of my trade before. Not today, but before. And so I felt like I was giving it just as much as I needed to. I wasn't gonna go red on it, but I gave it as much as I could without trying to manipulate the way that the chart was. Could I have stopped out under the 200? Yeah, but stopping out at 17.75 and stopping out at 17 on a chart where I'm long from 13.23 really doesn't make much of a difference. And so for me, I was just trying to see as long as I can hold it. Now we have a bearish engulfing on the daily, so we're gonna look for one more downside day on this on JDST tomorrow, and then I'll be looking to relong this position. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I'll be looking for one more down day, and I'll probably be relonging JDST tomorrow if it happens. MYOS is looking okay after hours, and for those of you guys that are, if you're comfortable with the trade, if you say to me, hey Barry, I don't like holding pigs, then you take your money and run. Okay, we're still looking for that target of $3.40. Icon in NAV. Well, that's a nice looking chart. The earnings is coming up on the 6th, so you have a few days where the chart can actually probably move into earnings, which would be good. He was already in. Oh, okay.
PEIX, right. Pacific Ethanol
PEIX
by 9 cents.
Beats.
Earnings per share
You want it now, bud?
Cents. Revenue coming in at 441.7 million.
PEIX, Noel. I don't know if you hear, but I hope you hear. You're not here. PEIX. I know he wanted this chart. This is an ethanol play, and so if you want a long PEIX, their earnings weren't bad, and beats on Rev, and 441 versus whatever beats by 20 mil, and EPS beats by 9 cents. Okay, so they're good. And so we know that we were looking at the chart for a possible swing base of that. They produce ethanol, right, which is good because they're talking about that gasoline mix stuff. And so this is a nice 813 crossover with good earnings. So at this point, now you can long the PEIX. If you don't, long it now, you can still long it in general, because you don't have to worry about their quarter being bad on you. What else do you guys have that you played? VRX had one late day but didn't hold. VRX had that SEC investigation thing that turned out to be a really nice short for anybody that aggressively played it when we were talking about it. For right now, I'll be leaving it alone. I'll be leaving it alone. Just no interest in here. Hold on. AKS announces stainless steel price increase. Okay, so SS price increase, which should be more money for them. Julian, you got that NAV stake so much quicker than Trade Exchange. Trade Exchange just got that NAV call icon stake. Pretty cool. I gotta set up charts for tomorrow. Now you guys can ask questions. This is Kayla, how about previous high of day?
AKS, AK Steel announces.
Okay, so that would be, you're talking about kite. Can you long kite over
AKS.
yesterday's high of day? Yeah, that's always a breakout. That's always a breakout. Can you long it over high of day? Sure. Candle closed over, you would have gotten it higher, right? You would have. This is your previous high of day. As long as you get the candle to break over the next candle that opens above, the only thing, remember, the only thing you're looking for is a reason to be long or short, right? Bottom line is you're only looking to be long or short. When you get the opportunity to be long or short, your adjustment comes for your entry. That's it. For your entry. And so if this candle pushed above and you're trying to get this to pull back. Now all you're trying to do is that a long? Yes. We know it's a long. Why is it a long? Because it broke over yesterday's high. All I'm doing as a trader is I'm trying to get an entry. So now my entry preferably is here, being that I want to get 50% off of this move into an entry. Chart did not pull back that at all. So maybe you missed here thinking, okay, well, I'll get the entry. Maybe you missed here thinking, okay, well, I'll get the entry. At this point, you're seeing 3 strong candles to the upside, and you're not trying to long into that now because you feel like, okay, well, the move is gone. But if you keep looking at this chart and then you see this, that's a simple flag breakout. Then you take your position. If you see this flat top breakout, then you take your position. If you see this flag breakout, so you would have had opportunities if you were looking at this chart all day long. You would have had opportunities here over yesterday's high to catch the first break, and maybe you missed it. Always remember though, sometimes you can pay up for a good chart. Julian taught me this a while ago also. And you hear me saying all the time that I'm paying up for a chart. I'm paying up for a chart. It's because Julian taught me that a while ago. If a chart's good and you have to hit the ask for it, you have to pay up for it. If the chart's a good chart, if the momentum's good in whichever direction that you're taking it in, paying up for it is not the worst thing in the world. It's just that you understand that you're doing it for a reason. Now you're not paying up for, let's say, a fallen knife, or you're not paying up for a chart that just barcoding. If the chart's barcoding like this all day long, you're not trying to buy it here. You're gonna wait for here. So that's not paying up, okay? But if a chart's doing this all day long, and you're seeing, well, this broke out, this broke out, this broke out, and you want to play for it, yeah, you can pay up for it, because at least you know that you have some reasoning to want to pay up for it. And so I don't mind paying up for charts, and I do it all the time, and I let you guys know that if I feel like there's something going on. If there's a pig, most times, honestly, most times, because you don't get the opportunity to, I'll hit the ask. Why do you think I have $2.77. Do you guys ever see me have a stupid number like that? I'm always about round numbers, and so when I paid up for MYOS because I wanted it, and so I would never have an average like $2.77. It's just the fact that that's where the ass sat at that time, and I was willing to pay up for it because right away I don't have to look at anything. I know it's a low float. I know that it's a former runner, and I know that we spoke about it just not even hours ago as far as, hey, this chart should have an upside move. AUPH is open. Now, I didn't get a chance to read this as proper as I would like to, but we see obviously that the news is reacting to be pretty good on it, right? So what I gotta do is I gotta put
As a
this
reminder
chart on
for
the
your
side a little bit
economic
so I can see
activity
some
for
daily
tomorrow, we have your
measurements
chain
on
store
it.
sales jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. The EIA natural gas report at 10:30 a.m. I'd like to thank
Let's
everyone
see
for
if we can
joining
see a
us.
bigger
It's great
picture
to see you
on
this
it. Okay,
afternoon.
this
Wishing
chart's gonna hit
everyone a
about
very pleasant evening.
560.
See you in the morning.
It's gonna hit about 560, then it should pull back. Now, do I want to play it there? No. And why do I think it's gonna hit about 560? Because if you're looking at the monthly chart on this AUPH, that's where it's gonna come into some serious flat top resistance. So let's look at it on a weekly time frame or so. Maybe not. Okay, let's look at it on a daily time frame, and we'll go back out a few months. And so you'll see that we're coming into some flat top resistance here, okay? And that's, for me, that's why my reasoning, see the flat top? And so that's why my reasoning for thinking, where's the magnet gonna be? At least, well, I think that's where the magnet's gonna be, right there. So that's where I think the chart's gonna want to go to that line. And so when it gets to that line, then it pulls back, and then you can kind of reassess where you wanna, what you want to do with it, if you want to play with it or whatever. And so for me, I think it goes up to that $5.60 range where it hits that flat top, and before it tests the breakout, it should retrace some in order to give you a proper entry. Am I buying it here $1.29 up? No, I say congratulations to those guys that bought it, and they're not sharing their position with me. I'll just stand back and watch it. So I have no interest on this as of right now, because I feel like the chart's obviously doing what it needs to do already, and the people that lucked out and having it before this happened, well, that's their gain. Sometimes it's okay to let people take pride in the things that they did. That's okay for them. They have it. That's their chart. For you right now, you can look at it, maybe we play it tomorrow, maybe it taps that $5.60 and pulls back enough to give us a proper entry, but for right now, scalp to the upside if you want, but this is high risk, 100% high risk. I wouldn't put a dime into it here. I think it goes to 560, and if you want to take that risk, that's on you as a trader. Remember, you have no stops here after hours, and it's a full-blown pig. Alright, so I'm not saying that it cannot go higher than 560 even, but understand you're at the mercy of pig world. Okay. Ching, so you sold some MYOS, and so you got your 50 cents on a $3 chart, and that's a significant gain on a $3 chart, and so congratulations. No worries, that's your money. You made it. What else you guys got? So Mike Z, there's a Michelle Z now. I was typing in the name last night, and I was cracking up. There's a Mike Z and a Michelle Z. Michelle, did you have a good day? I know I didn't hear from you at all today during the day. Well, hello. On February 23rd, when gold was going up, how did I know to start shorting the miners? Because GLD was not going up. I wish you were here with us during that time, because it was a pretty interesting relationship that I had found, where GLD was hesitating, and so you're looking at on the 23rd, which was this day, right? So let's look at this on the daily. When I started shorting, gosh, this is really Michelle, how many of my videos have you looked at? As far as my go-to strategy goes, like with my 813s and whatnot. So this was my initial reason for starting to short miners, and it had nothing to do with gold. It had everything to do with me seeing a downtrend on Nugget, and then the 813 crossover was actually on the 23rd. And so when I got into JDST, and I told the members this, when I got into JDST on that day, on the 23rd, the reasoning wasn't even. This chart is so hard to manipulate right now. Let me see if I do a smaller time frame. Okay, so when I got into on the 23rd, the chart actually had nothing to do with JDST. It had everything to do with Nugget, and the fact that there was a moving average crossed down on this day, and so it actually had nothing at that point to do with JDST. It had everything to do with Nugget. And if you at that same time, I was also playing around with GLD with the members, and we were seeing how intraday the charts just won't move. When gold is moving up, there was hesitation each day on most of the minor charts. They just kept hesitating on every push. You would see sellers, and into every areas of the chart during that time, the charts couldn't even break over previous highs. And that for me is a big thing when a chart a commodity like say gold or crude or whatever, if crude's ripping and you're finding that like none of your crude trades are moving, then something's wrong. And when gold was ripping, gold was breaking through 1240, and it was going through, and there were no miners that were following. For me, it's just no, gold futures were up, gold itself was up. And I told members this. I said you can long GLD, which is the actual gold spider ETF, but I wouldn't long miners. And we went through a whole little conversation about this, and that's so interesting that you bring it up. But we had a whole conversation, myself and Mike Z and Noel and some of the other gold type traders, and I was telling them that you can long gold but don't long miners. And my reasoning for the short on the miners with using JDST was because of this 813 cross down on Nugget, and then so it happens where JDST has an 813 cross up for me. And so this is why even on this big bearish engulfing here on the daily, tomorrow if I can try to get this chart back into this area here about $15.50, I'll probably end up trying some JDST on the long side again, as long as I can hold above the 13 EMA on the daily chart. So what I'd like to see is obviously a little pullback, some more off of this candle pattern, because that's as bearish as you want to get right there. Bearish engulfing. Okay, so I'm not gonna long willy-nilly into that, but I can play the pullback though, because ultimately what I still have is an 813 crossover. And if you follow the strategies and you follow any of my videos, then you know that I use these two moving averages as one of my main resources for day trading, intraday, daily, swinging, whatever. If you follow these two moving averages up, the last time they crossed was here, and that would have provided you with a short opportunity. Okay, the last time they crossed up was here, and that would have provided you with an up opportunity, right? And so the moving averages tell a big story. And so intraday moves like this, when I call intraday moves, I'm on a chart like an ETF like this that's explosive to the upside or downside. A few points really don't make a difference. It makes a big difference if you don't have the proper entry, of course. but it doesn't make a big difference if you're looking at the bigger picture. And for me, what I'm looking at and what I keep staring at is just this. But knowing that I have this today, I'm not going to long into that because I expect it to have a down day. Now these are obviously commodity related, and anything can happen to gold overnight, and we can have some sort of a change in gold or the dollar or whatever. But we have a seller into close there, and we have a buyer into close here. And so for me, closing volume is very interesting. I always look at closing volume as for what I wanna see happen the next day. And for the people that are in here, I expect it to push up. So how you can play this nugget chart, for example, if you wanted to be long on nugget, well, this one's pretty simple because this would put you into either a high of day break for a long. High of day breakout would be right there. So anything over 1984 and a candle that pushes over and pulls back to it to retest would give you a long opportunity. Or you can play this flag right there. Now, I probably wouldn't at this point play it after hours, even though we are seeing a definite break of that flag. And the reason why is because you have jackasses like this buying and selling 65 shares at a time. So you can't do a chart formation off of people that are buying and selling share structures like that. It's not enough volume for you to play around. So that remains your flag for right now, and tomorrow we'll readjust it unless you start seeing some serious buyers here after hours, or you see it breaking over today's high after hours. I'm not gonna be here till 8 o'clock to watch this, but if for anybody that's here, just hanging out, a break over here puts you in a yes trade. Some volume over here, over the flag, puts you into a yes trade. Even though the flag is breaking out right now with no volume after hours, no stops, no volume, that's a no trade. Even though it's a perfect chart formation, it's a no trade because of the volume that's coming in. So what do we have after hours? Hopefully that helped you a little bit, Michelle Z. Hopefully it helped you a little bit. So SGYP earnings per share. Oh wow, so SGYP missed. Now we saw sellers on SGYP during the day. Remember when we saw sellers on SGYP during the day and we were trying to figure out what's going on? Well, somebody probably knew something about their earnings. And so SGYP missed, and well, they'll deal with what they got to deal with. And for right now, if you want to buy SGYP, I would say put a $5 entry on that, because they actually still have their financials may have missed, but they still have some interesting stuff as a biotech. And so $5 buy on SGYP would actually probably serve to be a decent entry for a swing if you were to luck out and get it. What else do we have, guys? And anything trade related, bring it up. AUPH, you guys want it now? So we know that you didn't buy it to the upside, right? So what you do here is you put it on a small time frame. You see a difference now? It's a 1 minute time frame. You can see the flag as clean as day. Your chart's flagging AUPH. At least now it puts you in a better setup. At least it keeps you grounded for, well, the chart's flagging. At least that's my reason for taking it. Ultimately, that would be your breakout or add spot into a trade like this. So a smaller position on the long side here. Why I would do smaller on a chart like this is because it's after hours and there are no stops available, right? So I can't even go use the bathroom and come back. This chart could be at $4 if just something happens, right? And so if I was to do a position like this after hours on AUPH, I'd do a small position there, and then my only place to do any kind of adds would be if the chart was to break over that range. Weight Watchers, okay, the notes on Weight Watchers, I'm gonna have to frame this one. So the notes on Weight Watchers said, I I think we see some profit taken into the open that longed into the earnings. I'd like to see the chart pull back to fill some of the gap at $16.25, and the chart pulled back to $16.11. And I know that you had an order entry in at 16.25, and then you sold. You sold all of it, right? And you didn't keep any for the what if trade. And it's a similar type of a thing, like with Ching. And it's where leaving a little bit too much on the table happens, right? But if you were focusing on this chart again, this flag breakout would have given you an entry for a position on the long side. That would have given you an entry for the long side. This huge bearish engulfing right there would have given you a reason to say, well, I see sellers. And this one right here would have given you the same reason. So I don't know where you sold your entire position. I know that from 16.25, it was probably did you get 2 points on the chart? See what I do, and what I will always continue to do. If I get a sort of a move like this, and even if I'm up 50 cents or a dollar, see, for me, if I got it at 16.25 like you did, right? And I was busy this morning doing my other things. This was one of the charts that I wanted to play. I wanted to play it, and I screwed up. This would have been a monster win for me. 16.25. I would have sold some at probably right here. I would have probably sold some right there. And why? Because that's exactly where the opening range is, right? So I would have probably end up selling some into this candle. I would have gotten in 16.25 here into this pull, and then I would have probably sold some here, maybe even 17. So what I would have done is I would have put 75 cents in my pocket. So say I had 1,000 shares. I'd put 75 cents in my pocket. No matter what, I'd put 75 cents in my pocket. So say I was writing out a remainder of 250 shares. I either I would have added over pre-market breakout, which is here, and I probably would have added at this point right there. KTOS offering. Oh boy. Okay. So I would have taken my paycheck money, which is always most important to me, right? So say I made $300 or $400, 1,000 shares from here to here, right? So I made $300 or $400. That's in the bank, period. Nobody's taking that away. Stops at entry automatically. So I take 75 cents off. Stops at 16.25. If I was working this chart, when I'm working my charts, if I show you some of my side charts, when I'm working it, it's covered with trends and fibs and areas of interest for me. And so if I was working this chart, sold some here, stops here. Chart breaking over pre-market high, I would have added into the chart. So chart pushed over, came back in, pushed over, came back in. First candle that opens above, I'd be long. So I'd add into this chart. So say I added here at $18. My initial entry at 16.25. Now I would have an average probably somewhere about here. Let's just call it 17.20. Okay? And then that's where my stops would have been. And then I'd be taking money off of that again. So the chart would have come back and held this area here. Pin bar candle. I couldn't say for sure that I would have added more, because looking at it hindsight, I'd say, yeah, that was a perfect add spot, right? So maybe I didn't add at all. But what I would have done is I would have pushed into this breakout candle here. I would have sold some there, because I always sell into big green candles. Not all, but I always sell. So say I would have had a $17.20 average, already making my paycheck for the day, $17.20, and I would have probably sold some at an even $19. Would have been bonus money. And so that's how I would have worked the trade if I was doing it. Now, if you can bring up charts like this at the end of the day and say, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, well, yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And was it on the notes? Yes. Was it, I think, all day upside move, $16.25 long? I mean, I think it was just perfection on Weight Watchers, especially for those of you guys that were playing that chart. It was a It was a pretty aggressive chart. Even if you look at SRPT, SRPT said looking for a continued push into the open up to $30.50. $30.50. You got the push into the open. And then we see some profit takers step in. I think buyers being up today we look for a pullback down to $28.25. So sure, a chart came back to $28.50 instead. And look for a re-entry and a long for the remainder of the day. SRPT was pretty on point. PANW, well, you guys can fire me for this one because this was a complete BS. I think we see some dip buyers into the name in the open. If your account cannot stomach it, don't trade it. I'm looking for a 5-point move, so I was risking 5 point. And I did note it was a high risk trade and you don't have to force it. So, well, I lost on this one, and this was a total misread on my part, but it was on the notes and I don't change them. CRM chart looks like it wants to fill the entire gap. I would think it pushes into the open, which it did. Meanwhile, I was right in this chart here at $80 and like 60 cents or 70 cents or something. So if you were playing that push into the open, well, there was no reason to sell it, right? And there would have been no reason for you to exit the long position if you were long into the open. And so obviously I was looking for 81.75. Chart way overshot that, but you would have gotten your 81.75 even if you were just playing that. And if you shorted, well, hopefully you stopped out. And if you ended up picking up where I picked up and where I added into the trade, you would have actually made some decent money on it. The CRM, as far as what you wanted to do, I think the chart pushes into the open, which gives you a long opportunity, yeah? And then I said at the end of that, if you're long, I would hold some for the what if. And I wrote that like 8 o'clock this morning. LOGM. I think we get a gap and go chart, which was, I would like to see it pop into the open. Well, what I was looking for was 103. The idea was short, right? The idea initially was short, but I needed the push first in order to get the short. So, did we get a gap? When I was writing the notes, it was down here. It almost ran up quite a bit, 2 or 3 points before it started to make its way to the downside. I never got filled because I had that 103 entry in. I told you guys that. And so I never got filled, so I missed the entire move altogether. But we did catch some on the upside. And I was long at 97.50. Ended up still catching 2 points on the trade. So even though the notes didn't pan out, I was still able to capitalize on the reaction of the chart, which turned out to be okay after all. So I still got 2 points. And I never did an add on this chart. So all it was just 2 points. Period. Never did an add or anything. I mean, sometimes I get charts that I add into, and sometimes I'm just not comfortable enough. This one was sporadic, and spreads were wide even during trading day, and I just didn't feel comfortable adding into it. So I just ended up writing the whole thing. But did I make the few $100 that I wanted to off the chart? Yes. So you bank that and you move on. Guys, got anything else before we wrap it up? Anything? Russell, how'd you end up with your SSTK? I know I didn't, chart didn't get up to where I wanted it to go. But you would probably obviously exited the trade somewhere during the day, I would assume. And, well, it's still a nice setup though. And you still made some money on it. So I would hope that you still capitalized on a green trade there. Fold's CEO is on CNBC now. Alright, so do I wait for the close? I wait for the close to confirm for me if I want a long. And then the candle after has to stay above. Because I've spoken many times about, like, say that's your breakout line. I've spoken many times about fake breakout candles. So this is my push if I want to be long, right? This is my breakout over that high. Now I want to make sure that this other candle stays above. Sometimes I have to wait 2-3 candles. Sometimes it pulls back in. Sometimes it stays in. As long as I can find an area where I get some sort of a candle successively holding above that range, yes. So it's not necessarily sometimes the second candle. It's not necessarily sometimes the exact second candle. Sometimes it's the 2-3 candles after. It just depends on if that range. Remember, all it is here is a roof, right? And so when you push over, it's got to stay above in order to carry on. And so that chop zone here, which is consolidation, supply, this is where you get in fresh buyers coming back in, and then your chart moves. Your chart only moves obviously if you get buyers that are stepping in, right? So if this chart is met with sellers here instead, it's going to break back underneath. So it's not necessarily the exact candle afterwards, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 candles. Sometimes it's a congestion zone before it breaks out. Let's take a look at kite. Right, even on kite here, how many candles would you have had to wait for, right? If that was your red line high of day breakout, you would have had a couple candles there in between. You would have had a couple candles in between that would have popped over the red line here. One came back under, one pushed back, pushed in, out, right? So that's what from the first candles 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 minutes after, to then get yourself at least a proper entry. So sure, you wanted the breakout. Chart tested a whole bunch of times, and you would have to wait 45 minutes for this candle to actually make a breakout. So you see, it's not just the next candle, it's the next proper candle. Okay, 602 on that trade. Well, good stuff, Russell. Nice job, buddy. Nice job. I didn't realize you had that kind of size, bud, on the trade. Nice job. That's your paycheck, right? Alrighty. Who's long on AUPH? So we were doing it on a 1-minute chart after hours here. So now that you're long on AUPH, now that you're getting your flag breakout to the upside, add a little bit. That's all. You add in a small amount, because remember, these are after hour trades. Okay, these are after hour trades. Are you green? Yes. But you were small green to begin with, so now you're gonna have to add a little bit. Now understand that I'm gonna get off the mic soon. You're gonna be on here watching your chart on your own. Okay, I can't help you further than where it's at right now. So you're gonna have to monitor this as much as you can by yourself. Put on a 1-minute time frame and draw the same exact chart that I have up here, and it'll help you to at least keep the trade in formation. Okay, so you won't have a different read from what I'm seeing. Just an observation, but you have noticed some of your best day trades are the next day after a gap down on the daily. Okay, so then you're looking for extended moves to the downside, and you're trying to play the up move. So that's a good observation, because that should be obviously something that you're that you're focusing on. Because do you have days where charts excessively get to the downside? Sure. And so can you play those? Now what you should try to incorporate are days when you have excessively up moves to try to take short positions. But focus on the long side right now. So if you're saying you notice some of your best days are the days the next day after a gap down trade, then all you do is do your scan at night for charts that are down for the day, and then those are your watch. That's your watch list. And then what you go through is you run through, price them, and see what fits into your price range, and obviously check the volume, because you don't want to have a chart that's gapping down a lot, but you're playing it based on the no volume type thing. So make sure that all your criteria are met, and you got yourself your own strategy. You got yourself your own watch list, and then we could always share ideas. Remember, you can always bring up conversations with me on the support group, and then we'll go over it. And for you guys that are new, Michelle, and Jason, and I guess there's nobody else that's new on here right now. They left. Okay. On the top of on the top of the chart, the notes tab. This group me here. So this is a support group that we have. It's only for members, and there a lot of traders share ideas, and we talk about trades and share past experiences and good days, bad days, anything trade related. You guys can find us there after hours or early time. Eric posts up a lot of charts there with fibs, and so it's a good little group to get into if you're interested in keeping up with conversations with people that are in trades, out of trades, or in the same field as you. So it's our little own support group. So there's the link up there. All you have to do is copy and paste it somewhere, and we'll see you in the group meet chat. Anyway, so I'm gonna wrap it up for the day, and I do hope that some of this chart review stuff was helpful to you guys. And remember, every Wednesday, and thank you, Kay, for reminding me that today was Wednesday, because I totally forgot. So now it's time to send out some tweets. I hope that you guys did good. Please support the group. All right. Have a good night, all. And I'll upload this review session like I do with the rest of them. So I'll send you a link in the group me for the people that want to rewatch it. All right. Take care, guys.